Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Hi guys, one more update in my trip about the situation in crypto markets and crypto market. What we have here is that we basically all our patterns which we talked about yesterday played out pretty well. I mean, so far they are evolving in the same fashion that we expected. This triangle on Coinbase bounce on the price bounced off this support perfectly. Now we are heading to the resistance, and it's really likely that we'll bounce down from that again. The same thing with Japanese yen, so we bounced twice from the bottom. Also the sort of this flat top triangle on Bitfinex and on the Binance exchange. They all the same, they work fine. We see some reaction from the bottom, and it's a bit different from the other exchanges, but we may see the continuation of the rise of the price higher than it will probably make the those patterns on the other exchange a bit invalid, so will look a little bit bullish than it was before. But so far just the trend is the same. The main thing which I'm looking at is this total capitalization of the altcoins, which I was showing you many times before. So far we are again, it played out perfectly yesterday. We bounced off of this support blue line, and we are heading up to this blue line resistance, so probably we will continue to trade within this zone for a while. We'll see how this green area will play out, because it's also quite strong in this resistance of $61 billion also is important level. So quite soon, I would say, we will see some definitive action in this on this pattern, so which will be stronger, right? And currently actually I see some third option. Like yesterday I was saying that this wedge will mean that technically that we eventually will go down, but this triangle, it looks more bullish to me, and if it will play out, it will go up, but it's not clear which pattern will be stronger. So what I think now is that despite recently at least, there is a strong correlation between the altcoins rise, capitalization rise, and Bitcoin price rise. Maybe at this time, since we actually rose quite a lot from the bottom of this minimum of Bitcoin, which was 3,200, then probably there is a chance that at this point, when we have the rise of price of Bitcoin, the altcoins will not go the same way. Maybe this wedge will be broken downwards, so Bitcoin will outperform most of the market, most of the cryptocurrencies out there, and it would mean that both patterns will play out perfectly. So the wedge will be broken downwards, but the triangle, at least this triangle, will be broken upwards. It is quite unlikely, but still there is an option, so please consider this as well. But still, currently I don't see anything change. Basically, we're continuing to be trading in the same area, the same patterns. So and Tether is basically above $1. Nothing really crucial. This nice volume tick makes me happy that it was bought out from the selling pressure, so hopefully it is a bullish sign. Again, my resume is that nothing changed. Let's see how it will play out. Must say about Ether, because there were some considerations and some questionable issues. So before the fork, as you know, we have some positive positive momentum and just like sentiment, positive sentiment in the market, and we have quite of the rally even with respect to Bitcoin. And actually yesterday, I think it was either yesterday or 2 days ago, I was saying, guys, let's look at this level where probably the price will bounce off. And since there is quite a thin market these days and mostly algorithmic trading, I'm sure that this was the reason of the algorithms like bots traded here, and we saw just almost perfect bounce from this moving average. Blue is 200 days moving average, so it's not clear how far we will go down from that point. I would say it's not likely that we'll go too much of down because the bounce is not that strong, so it's very likely that we'll pierce it and go above, especially that the momentum is that strong. However, the most classical way how the fork will like change the price, like the fork which will happen affect the price, is that, like my personal opinion, I mean it's very risky, it's very uncertain and unclear how these things affect the price, because sometimes on the high price just skyrocketing, and sometimes the price becomes very low before the fork because people are getting their profits on the rise and they just don't want to be dumped on the event of the fork, and so on and so forth. So it's absolutely unclear what will happen. But in my opinion, since like what will most likely happen, of course not financial advice, but I don't know, it's up to you guys, since there was a lot of the sort of oversold situation with Ether at this point, and we finally had a lot of nice momentum from that level and going up and up, and still those upgrades in the fork are not that bad. Probably it's very likely that Ether will go much higher from this level, so maybe like 50% from that point or something like that, or lower, maybe at least with like very sharp candle, and then a lot of people will fix their profits and will return back, maybe even below 0.04 Bitcoin, because a lot of them, like most of the market, is much weaker than Ether, and it's very unlikely that Ether will be the engine that will push drag the market up. Probably just it will follow the market, and market is not that bullish as Ether is. So I would expect like strong tick upwards and then go down. And a couple of words about the fork itself. So a lot of people are wondering whether there will be another like two coins appear after the fork, so Ether and Ether something, like it was with Ether and Ether Classic, Ethereum and Ethereum Classic. There will be no such thing this time. There will be just an upgrade of the blockchain of Ethereum, and you will have new version of the coin, but no other coin, so just one coin. And there are like few attempts to scam people with different types of coins with this, because of this fork. Maybe there is something like more or less legit, but as far as I'm informed, there's nothing from the official sources stating something like that. And please be careful, because like if you're asked to like send your private keys or something like that, don't fall into this, and this is most likely to be the scam. There is one fork, I think, on Ethereum Classic happening simultaneously, and maybe it is sort of legit, but it's quite different from Ether, and all the others are basically, well, looks really scammy in my personal opinion. So be careful with that, guys. Okay, that is not the last thing about which I posted on my Telegram, but I didn't say yet. This is the icon coin, and especially if you look the icon versus dollar, at this time you can find some nice pattern, inverse head and shoulders pattern, which may really play out soon. And in my opinion, icon was quite low recently, even after the drop of Bitcoin didn't rally that much, so it was something like 0.18 and now 29. So well, it's not that bad, but still it might be much better. So far it's like inverse head and shoulders, and if it will go above that, if this pattern will play out and Bitcoin will not suddenly drop, which will ruin up everything. So and that would mean that will probably go something like 42, 43, which is pretty much close to the this daily moving average, 100-day moving average. Probably they will bounce from that point, especially that there is some level around here. So not financial advice, but I'm looking carefully at this pattern and this coin right now. Now that is it, guys, so please stay tuned. Thank you for being with me today. I hope that it was useful. Just an update, but still we'll see how things will play out tomorrow, and have a nice trading for until tomorrow. See you in the next updates. Goodbye, guys.